Have you or do you intend to LP Condemned Criminal Origins? Is his next question. I haven't. If I did, it would be up. And number 2, do I intend to? I don't intend to do anything that hasn't been requested to the point, or lucked out on the roll, the random roll, to be my next LP. So I don't intend to do anything. Except, I guess, the next old school game and everything on my new release list. Those are the ones I intend to do. The rest of them are sort of extra. Okay, people ask me why am I getting an X. Basically, I originally was named Hoytella, which sounded a little bit too much like a deck of cards, Hoyle, or too much like a Spanish word. Hoy means tomorrow, I think, or today, or something like that. And Tella, they both sound pretty Spanish. And I just figured it was time for a new name. So I went with Armageddon. I thought that would be a good name because it's a sign of power. Nothing's more powerful than Armageddon, but so that's what I went with. This was in 1994 when I was trying to create a username for Cali. This was before Cali 95, so it was 1994. JWarriors343 asked the question, what made you get into gaming? I guess there's 2 reasons. One was it was a good... Well, no, I guess the entire reason is it's a really good way to make a kid leave you alone for a while if you don't want them always watching television. So basically that's what started me on it, was a lot of different educational games when I was younger. And then I kind of moved on to more fun games as time went on here and there. What have hands and can't clap? A clock? But I bet you a clock can clap. Have you ever seen a grandfather clock where the little guy goes springing out the front and goes ka-ching, 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 and then goes right back in? There you go. Even clocks. So I don't know then. What has hands and cannot clap? Because a clock can. What are you going to do for the Sims 3 LP? Probably, just like I normally do things, just go through the standard fare. I'm not going to do a scenario or something like that. I'm just going to create a character, bring it in, and try to do the standard fare stuff. Supposedly there's actually fewer needs in Sims 3, but I hope it still has that kind of real-life feel. I also don't like the fact that when you start getting a lot of the really good furniture, and let's say that you have open for business and you get that plant that heals all of your things, you end up just sort of idling all day long. You've got nothing to do, you don't have any of your needs to fulfill. So that's when the game kind of gets boring for me. I guess that's when you're supposed to have a family and you're supposed to have to deal with lots of different people, so not having to deal with stats isn't the worst thing, but... Oh, and also, I always go for lesbians. Always. Always. Why not? Okay. What do I like more, slow or fast zombies? Depends on my weapons. I prefer Left 4 Dead zombies over any other zombie game. Yeah, basically. So I guess fast zombies is the answer, because I don't really think zombie games are all that great. So, and I thought Left 4 Dead was really good. Right now, I have 2 bunnies as a pet. You might have known about that, perhaps. Coco and Puffs. Fast Girl 321 was the one who came up with that idea, and I gave her a voucher for that. I also have a cat named Carlos. I actually named the cat Carlos. He lives up in my other residence where my parents live. And whenever I visit there, I spend a lot of time with Carlos. Am I a boobs, legs, or ass man? Boobs, all the way. Boobs. Love the boobs. Are legs men actually that common anymore? I think it's usually either ass or boobs all the time. I don't know. There are certain creases, like certain creases. You know what I'm talking about. Certain creases on almost any voluptuous female body that are awesome. But yes, several of them throughout. I don't really feel like I should review things. I think it's a waste of time. I'm giving you gameplay footage. It's better than a review. So if I'm not going to do gameplay footage, then putting out a review is almost as good. But I don't see a reason to sort of compromise and do a review if I'm already putting Let's Play footage up. Ghostslime demands credit for a question and answer video. It has nothing to do with Ghostslime, so I give you no credit whatsoever. So I already was thinking about it probably several months ago. Or not several. I haven't even been around for several months. Probably 3-4 months ago. I thought about doing a questions and answers video, but I wanted to wait for enough people, so you get no credit whatsoever. Mr. Linkwait says that he's one of my first 10 to 20 subscribers. I checked on the list. He's definitely one of the first. He subscribed to me a month after I started making videos, which means I don't think he was my first 20. He was probably my first 50, first 40 maybe. But and he also says, do I love him? Basically, love is a hard word to define, but sure, I love everyone. But that's the problem. How do you define love? Okay, so there you go. Is love never being able to get enough of someone? I don't know. There's a lot of people that I love that I really could do with less. Yes, very much so. So, how do you define it? Would I make an LP of a game I can't stand? To a point. If I feel a game is so bad that it shouldn't even get recognition, it shouldn't even cloud people's minds, like the emo game, I don't even really like mentioning it. It is so bad that it shouldn't even get bad hype. It should get no hype whatsoever. If it's that bad, then no, I will not play that game. But if it's just a genuinely overrated or kind of okay game, but just something I don't really like, and I don't want to rant about it, yeah, I'll do a game I don't like. BetterThanYou2468 asks a pretty good question. How do I do my random roll for the games that I play? That's only for the walkthroughs. That's only for the kind of mid-range games, the ones that are not new releases, and they're not super old school games. They're the ones that people request all the time. With those, it does not matter how many requests they get. Basically, I look at websites like Metacritic and things like that, just review sites, see what their reviews are, and then I look at whatever pictures or gameplay footage there is and try to piece together how good I think the game would be versus what the critics say. So if the critics go to like GTA 4 and give it a 9.4 or a 9.7 out of 10, and I look at it and I think it's kind of like a 7.0, then I'm going to say it's either low or very low on how underrated it is. And then I rank it accordingly, or sometimes I'll see a game that I think is way better than the ratings give it. I think Saints Row 2 is a really good example of that. There's a couple of different ones that are really good examples of that, where they got really poor ratings, but I actually would think that they're like more of an 8 instead of a 7. So those I would rank high on underratedness. And so if I roll a number, it is much more likely for it to land on a highly underrated game than a poorly underrated, a overrated game, a highly overrated game. And that's just how I set up my system, and the specifics on how it works is not too complex, but requires a little bit of math. So just you need to know that it's just much more likely that I'll be playing a game that's underrated than one that's overrated. And that's just how I set it up. And it doesn't matter how many people request it. For example, things like Oblivion are very overrated, on the list of very overrated, and I've got 12 requests for it. And it doesn't matter. I'm never going to base my decision on how many requests I get on that. I just really feel that that's a disservice, because I don't think you guys should watch a video of a game everyone knows about. You should see games that are entertaining and let you know of a game that you might not have heard of, whether it be a new release or an old school game. Okay, stop asking me what my next Let's Play is going to be. You guys know where my lists are. And if you want to know what my next old school game is, it's my logo. So if you can figure it out, you can figure it out. I guess this guy misspelled anime. He's asking, DJ Burst asked me, when are we going to talk about anime again? I talk about it from time to time during my live screencasts. But there you go. I guess the next live screencast is somebody asking me a question about anime. Playjex asks, do albinos' organs lack pigment as well? Just a random question. I would suspect that they don't. I suspect that they still have pigment. I could be wrong, but also it doesn't really matter, because pigment isn't necessary inside your body. I just think that the pigmentation of your organs is more based on what their process is than as a defense against sunlight. So I think that the pigmentation is on a different gene than albino. That's my theory.